Silent Buttons is a short film of 8 minutes duration set in modern-day London. Over a 6-month period, we follow the experiences of Hannah, a young black woman, as she encounters challenges in going about her daily routine. The film is shot in colour, in landscape format, and throughout there are animated overlays that embellish settings or illustrate examples of things that might happen in an imaginary scenario. There are no spoken parts, but in some scenes Hannah texts people or uses sign language to communicate with those who come to her assistance. Captions convey these conversations as well as bringing to our attention facts and figures that addresses issues faced by the deaf community, in particular BSL users. The first scene opens in May on a bright morning in a leafy urban street of townhouses. While Hannah sleeps in bed upstairs, a masked burglar breaks in through the front door and goes back and forth stealing valuables from the downstairs rooms, including a TV screen and laptop. As he leaves, a caption reads, "At least 1 in 5 adults in the UK is deaf or hard of hearing." Hannah awakes and comes downstairs, shocked and distraught as she realises what has happened. Yellow dashed lines pulsate in place of the stolen possessions. Rushing to the front door, she checks for evidence of a break-in, looking out to the street before returning to the living room. A caption reads, "The Metropolitan Police Force has fewer than 200 officers who were taught basic BSL in a population of 9 million. Grabbing her phone, Hannah frantically opens an app to connect with a BSL emergency service operator, who, in a visual exchange, checks Hannah is safe and well before contacting police, who she explains will arrive shortly. As the call ends, Hannah sits tearfully in a panic in her living room. Multiple questions appear in colourful text around her, highlighting her worries and fears as she contemplates the situation. Did the burglar target me because I'm deaf? Will the police officers be racist? I'm looking forward to my partner returning from holiday, but I don't want to over-rely on them because they're hearing. The scene ends with the questions fading. Now in July, we join Hannah travelling on the London Underground in a harshly lit empty carriage. It becomes clear from Hannah's body language that she is feeling sick, and swirling animated lines surround her as she gets up and clings to a handrail. On leaving the train, she walks unsteadily along the platform and stops at an emergency call point, where she presses the help button. Frustrated and upset at not being able to communicate with anyone, or to even know if her request for help has been registered. The screen divides at this point, and in a semi-animated sequence, Hannah is given help by a BSL emergency operator on screen in the help point, who advises her to take a seat and wait for the assistance he has called for. As this dreamlike sequence fades, we return to reality where Hannah is forced to abandon the call point and then goes unsteadily, staggering at times, all the way through the station walkways until she reaches a public toilet and hurries inside. On her way, a caption reads, "At least 150,000 people in the UK use British Sign Language." We then find Hannah shut inside a cubicle, still unwell. Another woman enters the bathroom, and as she washes her hands, a fire alarm sounds, illustrated by flashing zigzag lines. Noticing that one of the cubicle doors are shut, the woman shouts, waving her hand under the door. Hannah opens the door to find the woman saying, "We need to go, there's a fire alarm," and they quickly leave together. As the door closes behind them, a caption reads, "1 in 2 of us don't know how to communicate with deaf people." In August, Hannah is at her office job, working at a desk and printing documents on a photocopier. A caption reads, 83% of deaf employees feel excluded from conversations with their colleagues. Time passes slowly. Towards the day's end, Hannah sits alone and tired at her desk, when she receives a text from her father reminding her that they are to meet up for dinner that evening. Soon after, on finishing work, Hannah passes through deserted offices and comes to a lift, where she presses the call button and replies to her father's text, letting him know she's on her way. Once she's inside the lift, the door closes and the lift begins to operate. But moments later, Hannah is jolted aside as it suddenly stops. Confused, she presses the call button for help, but with no success. Checking her phone for signal, as her agitation rises, a shot of spinning lights in the lift ceiling revolves into a semi-animated scene where a different BSL operative comes to Hannah's rescue by calling for help and assuring her that she will be okay. Using the same split-screen effect as in the tube station, we see this positive scene play out on one side, while on the other the real-life Hannah continues looking scared and miserable. Concluding the scene, one of the Hannahs steps out of the lift and thanks her rescuers, while the other, the real-life Hannah, remains stuck in despair. In October, we return to Hannah asleep in her bedroom at home. On waking, she sits at the edge of her bed. As her face registers confusion, a thought bubble appears, showing Hannah locking up the office using a keypad the day before. As the thought disappears, Hannah checks her phone. She replies to a friend's text, with the messages appearing on screen as she types, sharing her worries of not being able to hear the security system sounds, ensuring the office is fully locked. We next find her brushing her teeth in the bathroom. Her phone is by the sink and suddenly signals incoming messages. They appear in quick succession, with work colleagues informing Hannah of a break-in and requesting her to come to the office urgently. Panicking, Hannah rushes out of the bathroom, leaving the tap running and gets dressed in a frenzy. A caption reads, "Deaf people are twice as likely to be out of work as their hearing peers." She races down the stairs and throws on her shoes, then leaves the house and rushes off down the street. Rounding a corner, she pauses momentarily with a puzzled look before continuing on her way. In the bathroom, the tap continues to run, with blue swirls flowing around the water and filling up the sink, and then the entire screen. The film ends and credits roll. Silent Buttons is a collaborative campaign from Deaf Architecture Front and Shape Arts. To find out how you can get involved in our efforts to remove barriers faced by deaf people, visit www.shapearts.org.uk or follow us on social media at Shape Arts and at Deaf Architecture Front. Share our film online and tag Silent Buttons. Written and directed by Chris Laing. Camera, Samuel Ash. Cast, Herman Bahane as Hannah. Nicola Clements as Emergency Services Interpreter, Arlim Jadovji as Emergency Help Point Interpreter, Vanessa Brandt as Lift Interpreter. Animations, Mina Owen. Sound, Leo Schick. Editor, Eleanor Hayes. Creatively produced by Shape Arts, Jeff Rowling's Head of Programme, Eleanor Hayes, Creative Producer, and Emily Roderick, Assistant Producer, with thanks to Arts Council England and the Foyle Foundation. Links to sources used for this campaign are published alongside the film online. Copyright 2025 held by the creators of Silent Buttons.